Okay, so in the chemistry unit, here's what we did. We started out with, we started out with history and structure of the atom. Hey, that was our first lesson. We talked about the different atomic models. We talked about the points of the atomic theory. Okay, a few important people, like Rutherford, okay, de Broglie, Dalton. Okay, so those people would probably be important. If I was going to test people, I would say that would be a multiple choice item. And it would probably be related to something important that they did, like maybe a model they came up with, or maybe a theory that they came up with, or something along those lines. Okay, so if I was testing people, it would be in the multiple choice. I wouldn't spend a ton of time memorizing who did what. Okay, we can go over that, but I wouldn't spend a ton of time on that. At most, there's like 3 questions about that, and they're all multiple choice. Okay. So, structure and history of the atom, okay? The people is the history part. Structure is a bit different, okay? Make sure you know our currently accepted model. Here's how I'm going to test that. There will be a question in the written response part of the test where I ask you to draw a picture of a particular element's atom. Okay? So if I say that you need to draw a picture of sodium, okay, you need to make sure you put in the right number of protons, the right number of neutrons, the right number of electrons, and put everything in the right place according to our currently accepted model of the atom. It's a 5-mark question. Okay. What I'd be looking for those 5 marks, right number of protons, right number of neutrons, right number of electrons, everything in the proper place, right model. 5 marks. Okay? Okay, so that's what will be tested there. Should you also know Dalton's atomic theory? Yeah. Okay, again, that's going to be multiple choice. I'm not going to have a written response question where it says, write out verbatim what Dalton said. Okay, no, I'm not going to do that.
Aside from like the electrons being on the side of the nucleus, do we have to know like where they are or anything?
You need to put them in the right place according to the currently accepted model.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not looking for you to put orbitals or anything like that. Yeah. Okay, then we talked about naming and formulas of compounds. Okay, there will be a few multiple choice questions, that'd be like, what would be the correct formula for tin 4 chloride? Okay, A, B, C, or D. Certainly there will be a few multiple choice questions about that. Okay, or what would be the proper name for FeO? Okay, and then there would be A, B, C, and D. So yes, there's some of that in the multiple choice. Where is it more important for you to be able to do naming and formulas? And?
Short answer.
And what?
Short answer.
Yes, definitely in the written response, but in reactions and where else is getting the formula right really important? The mole equation. Okay? If you don't get the formula right, you won't get the molar mass right, and you won't get anything else right in that question. So it's crucial that you get the formula right. Okay, there. So that gets tested indirectly a lot in the test. Okay, being able to write the names and write the formulas, most importantly, okay, is going to be very important for all parts of the test, not just where I'm directly saying what's the right formula for this compound or what's the right name for this one. Okay, indirectly it gets tested in the reaction and the mole equation. So definitely go over that. Okay, and things to remember: Roman numerals, when to use them, when not to use them, and your special elements. Okay, you do need to know those. Okay, because in reactions, if you forget them, it costs you big. Okay, so remember which ones are special. Okay, the ones that are special are hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, aspartame, phosphorus, and sulfur. Okay, those are the special ones. So they're kind of all together right here. Okay,
Except for hydrogen.
except for hydrogen. So they're kind of all together. Hydrogen being the exception, it's over there. Okay, so make sure you know those ones are special. Okay, phosphorus and sulfur are extra special. Okay, phosphorus being a 4 and sulfur being an 8. Everything else is a 2. When do you use those special numbers?
When it compounds.
When they're by themselves. Okay, don't confuse them with the charges. Okay, properties of compounds, lesson 4. Did we do a lab about that?
Yes.
We did, okay, where we had to use the physical properties of certain compounds to identify them. Here's how that's going to get tested. You might have a multiple choice question that goes something like this. You have an unknown sample with the following properties. It is a red crystalline solid that dissolves easily in water, has no discernible odor. Okay? Its aqueous conductivity is very high, and its pH is 6. It is most likely to be A, copper 2 sulfate, B, nickel 2 chloride, C, cobalt 2 nitrate, or D, carbon dioxide. C. Okay, so being able to do that stuff is going to be important. There will be multiple choice questions about the properties of compounds. Okay, and there could be some that would be more general than that, like what would be the best test to run if you wanted to tell whether an unknown compound was ionic or molecular. Okay, in which case that would be the aqueous conductivity test. Yeah. Okay, so stuff like that. So make sure you go over the notes for lesson 4. Okay, lesson 1 and lesson 4 are probably the 2 lessons that you actually have to do a little reading for. Lesson 7 as well, because that's the solubility and polar nature of water. Right? Those are ones where you have to kind of read them over. The rest is all skills. Okay. All right. Solubility. There'll definitely be some terminology on the test. Okay, so asking you if you know what the definition of precipitate is, okay? Or if you know what a solute and a solvent and a homogeneous mixture versus a heterogeneous mixture are, okay? Things like that. So that's lesson 7. Just know the terminology, so you'll have to read that one over a little bit. That's review for you, because you've been doing this for a while. Should you know how to use the solubility chart on the back of your periodic table?
Yes.
Yep, there'll be some questions about that. And they will work very much like what you were asked to do in your reactions lab. Okay, so I could give you a reaction, okay, and ask you which, if any, of the products would be soluble. So maybe I give you a reaction and I say, these 2 things react. And I say, which, if any, of the products would be soluble? And then I have an A, B, C, and a D. And I do something like this. A. That's not one of the products. That would be one of the products. That would be one of the products. Is that question testing more than one thing?
Yep.
What is it also testing besides solubility? Prediction. Okay? You'd be surprised how many times I'll get someone to pick one of the 2 things that's not even a product of that reaction. Okay? What's the correct answer? A. Yeah. Okay. Potassium nitrate is a soluble one. Lead 2 iodide is not soluble. You did that in your reactions lab. That was the bright yellow precipitate. Okay? So stuff like that. That's how I would test that. Okay, so using your solubility chart, knowing the terminology, okay, and the polar nature of water was also in lesson 7. Here's what you need to know about polar nature of water. You need to be able to explain to me what it means to be a polar molecule. Right? That's that whole uneven sharing of electrons because one part is more electronegative than the other. You've got to be able to explain it.
Is that one like it like climbs up the like the attach?
That's later, not there yet. That's hydrogen bonding and cohesion and adhesion. That's later. Okay, so being able to say what a polar molecule is. Okay. Okay, what that's going to mean for the molecule, that's going to mean it's going to have a positive end and a negative end at least, if not 2 positive ends and 2 negative ends, okay, like water does, which could lead to it being able to have what kind of bonding? This kind of bonding causes cohesion. Hydrogen bonding, okay? It could lead to hydrogen bonding, which then will allow that molecule to display the properties of cohesion, meaning it can hydrogen bond to itself, or adhesion, hydrogen bond to other polar molecules. Okay? What does that look like? It looks like how plants are able to transport water up the tree. So what Greg was saying about the barrel of monkeys, okay? Because that's cohesion, and adhesion would be it sticks to the inside of the plant, okay, and doesn't fall back down, or the Jesus lizard running across the lake, okay, or things like that. All right, so definitely be able to explain what a polar molecule is, what it can do, why, and maybe give me an example. Okay? That would be likely a 5-mark question. So that one would involve a bit of writing. Okay? Okay, so what is a polar molecule? Cohesion, adhesion, real world examples, hydrogen bonding we should probably also put in there. All right. Reactions has a star beside it. Why?
It's important.
It is so important. Okay? If I was only going to study one thing, I wish I had more time to study more than one thing. But I would study reactions. Okay? If there's one thing on the exam that counts for more marks than anything else by a significant margin, it's reactions. Okay? They are in both parts of the test. Okay? There could be multiple choice questions that say, in this, which reaction is a double replacement reaction? And then I give you A, B, C, and D. Okay, and you have to tell me which one's a double replacement reaction. All right, so being able to identify the types, which is also important if you're going to predict the products of a reaction. You have to be able to identify the types. Okay, so know the 5 types. Okay, predict products. As I said, I will give you the reactants in words, and you will have to write it in formula form, predict the products, and balance the reaction. That'll be in the written response. Okay, and I may also give you just full reactions, like what was in the second part of the reactions assignment, where I give you the whole reaction in words, and you have to write out the whole thing in formula form, identify the type and balance. Okay, so same kind of stuff I tested on your reactions assignment. Okay, so writing reactions, balancing reactions. I'll tell you right now. Question number 1, 7 reactions. All you have to do is balance them. Written response, question 1. 7 chemical reactions. All you need to do is fill in the blanks to balance it. Okay, so just like the first 10 questions on your assignment without having to write them in words. Okay, and then mole equation. There's a fair amount of marks about the mole as well. Right? Each one of those problems is a multi-mark question. And we've gone over 4. How many should you expect to see on the test? Yep. I'm going to test each one. Are they going to be in order? No, they're definitely not in order. Okay. All right, so there's 4 types. Okay. All problem solving, and in the multiple choice, there's a couple of questions about the scientific method as well, because we talked about designing a procedure, identifying variables in our labs. So expect that you could get a question in the multiple choice that says maybe something like this. A security company wants to test different types of bulletproof glass for use in banks. Okay? In their experiment, they have 4 sheets of different types of bulletproof glass, or different test glasses. Okay? Each one of those test glasses will be fired at by the same gun, using the same ammunition, from the same distance. Okay? The measured value will be how far the bullet penetrates into the glass. What is the responding variable in this experiment?
How the glass reacts to the bullet.
Exactly. In fact, the depth to which the bullet penetrates the glass specifically, okay, would be the responding variable. The manipulated variable, the different types of glass. Controlled variables, gun, bullet, distance. Okay, so being able to do that. There'll be a couple of questions that see if we can break down an experiment into its variables. Okay, last thing. There will be a question that requires you to incorporate a lot of the things you know from this unit into one real-world situation. Okay? These are always my kind of separate the wheat from the chaff kind of question. Okay? It will have something to do with reactions and solubility. Okay? Reactions and solubility applied to a real-world situation. Okay? You haven't had a question like this from me. Okay? And that's still an important type of question for me to ask, because it tells me whether you can take what you know and synthesize something for me. It's the hardest kind of question. Okay? So how do you study for that kind of question? You go over the two things I just talked about. Reactions and solubility. Okay? Think about what type of reaction we've gone over that might have something to do with solubility. Spoiler alert, we had something like it in our lab. Question number 2 in the analysis, we'll say, okay, in our reactions lab. Okay, and before I take questions from you guys, so as I said, part of the test is multiple choice, and part of it is written response. There are way more marks in the written response, okay, than there are in the multiple choice. The multiple choice will be on a zip grade score sheet. Okay, I'm sure you've used those before. We have to fill in the bubbles. What do you fill the bubbles in with?
Pencil. Number 2 pencil.
Please. Yeah, it actually doesn't even need to be a number 2 pencil. It just needs to be a pencil, okay? And not because pencil is like better viewed or captured by my phone. That actually doesn't make any difference. It's erasability, okay? Because you can't do this on a zip grade form. Okay, you're like, I read through the question. Oh yeah, it's totally all the way. It's totally B. Oh, no. It's D. I made a mistake. It's totally no. It's A. Do you know what my phone says when I score that? It says it's wrong. You know what my phone is when it says that? Right. Okay? I don't care whether that's actually the right answer. Okay? If I wanted to manually score the sheets, I would manually score the sheets. Okay? Zip grade, hold my phone over it, I press scan, and it's done. Okay? I am not going back to double check whether the phone marked it right. The phone marks it right every single time. I have verified. Okay? So, if you do that, that is wrong. And it will be marked wrong. Okay? So please don't do that. Okay? What I would suggest is the first time through the multiple choice with your pencil, just little dot. Okay? Then you can go back and fill that in after. Okay? But that's easy to erase should you change your mind. Okay? If you're guessing, your first guess is always your best guess. Okay? Don't guess. You should know everything. Okay? Yeah, so make sure you do that. Okay? Oh, and by the way, not that any of you would do this, but I point it out every single time. Part of the zip grade program is that it does take a picture of your multiple choice form. okay? And so when we go through the exam, okay, don't change your answers and come up to me and go, Mr. Gooder, your phone marked this wrong. Because then I'll just pull up what picture my phone took and go, liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay? So yeah, don't do that. Okay? And not that any of you would do that, but I did have a kid try it once. Okay? So I always bring it up because I'm like, holy crap, do you not see the white beard? I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. I've been doing this for a while. And I'm smarter than you. Not all of you, obviously, but that kid in particular. Okay? So yeah. Just, not that you would do that, but it's a funny story. Not funny, ha-ha, funny, tragic, but yeah. Okay, questions from you guys? Anything you, oh, sorry, the test. Yes, gotta tell you more about that. Okay, you might want to write this down. Okay, so we are looking at 33 multiple choice questions. They will go pretty quickly, all right? If you are spending more than, say, a minute on a single multiple choice question, move on, okay? You should really be doing like 2 or 3 per minute. Okay, that's really how quickly they should go. Okay, in the written response, there are 51 marks on 6 questions. Now, some of those questions have A, B, C, and D, just okay, so you're aware. So, in the written response, as I already said, question number 1 is 7 reactions that need to be balanced.
Or each one worth?
Each one is worth 1 mark. Okay, in question number 2, you have 4 reactions. You need to identify the type, predict, and balance. Each one will be worth 4 marks. Okay. So that means one of the 5 reaction types is not represented in there. Okay. You have your structure of the atom question that we already talked about. 5 marks for drawing a picture of a particular element's atom. You have, for question number 4, your mole equation question. That would be actually 4 separate mole equation calculations. Five and 6 require you to do a little writing. Okay? 5 is asking you about water, polar nature of water. 6 is the question I was telling you about before that incorporates reactions and solubility in a real world situation. Okay, that's your test. How many people have done the practice test already? Okay, I'm glad I don't see that many hands up because I did tell you to wait till this weekend to do it. So, when you do the practice test, your test that you write next week is going to look a lot like that. Okay, I think I pointed that out before, but I mean a lot like it. Okay, so take your time when you do it. Your practice test only has 25 multiple choice. Obviously, there's a few more multiple choice because I asked a few things I asked more than once on the actual test, but I only have one version of that question on the practice test. Okay, so that'll give you an idea of wording, okay, level of difficulty, all of that. Okay, all right, questions from you? Anything I can go over, answer for you right now while we got some time? Okay. Then, I'm going to put the mole questions up on the board, and you can give them a try, and we'll quickly go through them before class ends. Okay? So, that would have been your quiz. Okay, but I decided not to do it. That would have been the one you wrote this morning. All right, give those 3 a try, and we'll go over them here.